All right, thank you very much. City Council reports, beginning with Councilmember Cardoza.
All righty. A little bit lighter, since it's only been a couple of weeks. I'm going to start with chamber events tonight. Attended the Ambassadors Monthly Meeting. We're moving forward. We got plans for 2020. Got the gala that's coming up at the end of the month, and then the Swan Festival that will be coming up in the next few months. We're looking to expand and have great things with the chamber here in this next year. Attended the Business Connection Breakfast. Bill Air Force Base was the talk. They're bringing back the air show this year, and they're going to have quite the show. They're going to have the Thunderbirds there, and quite a few other groups. I just got the main one that I'm aware of, but there's going to be quite bigger and badder, and they're expecting quite a few people. I helped with the Sutter County Candidate Forum. I'm in the chamber. I'm an ambassador for the chamber. So I was at the Sutter County Candidate Forum with the chamber, picking up question cards and passing them to the speakers so in order for them to get the speakers. For meetings, attended the Bi-County Homeless Service Government Affairs meeting. We're moving forward. We're working together with the consortium to all be together as one. Moving forward to help the homeless in both sides of the river. Attended the Sutter County Yuba City Joint Homeless Ad Hoc Committee, Councilmember Espandola and myself. Michael Rock was all there. We had a phone call from San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulkner, and was giving us great ideas here in the community, the things that they do down there, and hopefully we can do the great things that he does up here and get the homeless off the streets and into homes and out of the river bottoms and so on and so forth. It was a workshop for the Safe Routes to Schools workshop. They set out, we're getting ideas in the community. Will be brought to council here, I believe, next month. Ideas for crosswalks, getting children to school safely, bike paths, so on and so forth. And then we had a couple special meetings last week. The council had a meeting with the commissioners, and then we also have our community conversations. For Sydney community events, yesterday we attended a council attended a swearing in and badge pinning ceremony for 4 new firefighters, and also our new fire chief, Jesse. It was a great occasion. Attended Waffle Wednesday at the Senior Center. Helped serve waffles. We're getting bigger and better every month, and we're getting more and more people. Pretty soon, we're going to have to get 2 rooms. Community events. Attended the community event hosted by Mayor Harris and the Arts Council, the 550-year anniversary of Guru Naraja. I want to make sure I say that right. He was the founder of Sikhism. And that was a great it was a good turnout at the Art Center. I learned a lot. And so we celebrated the anniversary of that. And then Friday night, we went down to Sacramento Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce, 125th year anniversary, the Business Awards dinner. And watched a few awards and the great things that the Sacramento region is doing. And hopefully that will come to us also and make our city and county bigger and better also. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Espandola.
Thank you, Mayor. And trying to save some time here because Councilman Cardoza has already spoken a few items that we co-shared. So I'll just highlight the areas that maybe give you some additional information. So the community and conversation, as we move forward, I hope that we find some locations, and I'm happy to hear that we're going to be at the Senior Center. That's a good location for us to go. It was really, it was a learning opportunity for, as a council member, to see our community be able to voice their thoughts, and for them also to identify priorities and the priorities that we have established as a city council. So as we go throughout the city, I've heard nothing but really good feedback from the community in reference to us having done this. A workshop that we all attended, which is the Brown Act and bringing us all up to speed, and our swift, great city attorney over there Shannon did an amazing job on keeping us all in line with the rules here, so thank you. I am newly assigned to the Sutter Butte Flood Control. I learned quite a bit I met with Michael and had a one-on-one bring you up to speed on everything that the Sutter Butte Flood Control is, what's happening. And so I'm actually, our next meeting's next Wednesday, and I'll be joining them for the the lunch, give the preview review of that. But we have a lot of the levees completed in Butte and Sutter County. A lot of good progress is being made there. And perhaps in the future, we can have him come in and do another presentation, because I think he comes in annually. And I could be incorrect about that, but I believe he does. So with the Bi-County Homeless Committee and the Yuba City Homeless Consortium, many representatives gave updates on the different committees that the Bi-County Homeless Committee, Councilman Cardosa sits on that particular group. And one of the things that happened after the meeting is that we ended up sitting together with, and Brad McIntyre was there representing the city, with the consortium to begin merging the Bi-County Community Homeless Committee with the consortium, and have representatives from the Bi-County Homeless Committee be on the consortium as an advisory, and more of a governmental affair advisory for the consortium. And we are in the process of hiring an executive director through the Homeless Consortium, and the final interviews will happen tomorrow. So hopefully that'll be completed, and then meetings will begin again. The monthly meetings will begin again in March, actually March 12th. We attended the Sacramento Metro Chamber. We work closely with them as we go to the Cap to Cap and do some regional efforts together. Also attended, Congressman Garamendi was in town and listened to the latest and greatest that is happening at the federal level. In particular, the question was about healthcare and pharmaceutical needs and cost for our aging community. Our Councilman Cardoso and I were at the Homeless Ad Hoc, and in our conversation with the mayor from San Diego, they described a whole process of allowing for enforcement to occur. One of the main things that the mayor said, that in order for their city to be effective and able to do this, was that safety and security of a bed was needed to be provided in order for their city to be able to implement some additional potential consequences. But the infraction process and the process of that was progressive. It was not at one time, here you go, there's a lot of work to it. And San Diego has been taking this message across California and being pretty innovative in their own way. So it was nice to connect with him. Yesterday, attended our pinning and our fire department, which was an honor to be there with you, Chief, and the rest of the new firefighters. And so you did well for your presentations today. And so when at the end of it, you could just, how can I help you? And I'll be all like, oh, sure, okay. No, but thank you so much for joining our team, and glad to have you here with us. And that's all I have. Thank you so much.
And thank you. Busy couple weeks. Councilmember Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I want to thank our entire city team for all the work that they do, and some of the executive directors in here that are here tonight that I've seen a lot of in the last 2 weeks. Mr. McIntyre, Slangley, Ben. I mean, it's you guys have been hitting the ground running the last few weeks. And I just want to say thank you with everything you guys have been doing. And I know we still got to go back into closed session, so the night's not over. I'm going to make it quick. To our chiefs, please pass along to your men and women. I've seen how they protect our city and keep it safe. They are top notch. They are professionals. my thank you, and keep up the good work. And I know they're in good hands with both of your leadership, so thank you very much. The last couple of weeks focused on really making the changes that the little subcommittees and such I've been on, one of which is the Development Impact Fees Ad Hoc Committee that the Vice Mayor and myself are working on. It's going well. We've got a great group from not only the city, but also the private sector to really figure out how decisions we make take it from development all the way to occupancy of the resident. So know that the time horizon on that is we are trying to figure out the things that are, as we call, the low-hanging fruit that we need to address to bring those back here in the next month or so. And then as we find other recommendations, we'll be bringing those back maybe over the summer, and then final ones, after the traffic studies and such are done. But Yuba City is open for business, and we're trying to get that word out, and we're trying to be as business friendly as possible. And Mr. Moody, thank you for everything you're doing, because Ben, we've hit you with a lot of stuff, and you just took on the post, so I thank you very much for everything you're doing. The other one is the Bogue Stewart Master Plan tax agreement. Again, myself and the Vice Mayor is tackling that one. We've had meetings. It's going well. Hopefully we can bring back good news here in a short amount of time. And that can go to LAFCO, and we can get that project moving. Last committee I've been assigned to that's met in the last 2 weeks is SASA, and that's our animal services. And I was appointed the vice chair of that, and they do a great job, and I'm looking forward on representing the city and serving on that committee. So again, thank you to everyone in our city for the great job they do.
And thank you. Vice Mayor?
My turn, huh? Workshop on the city's priorities and goals. And because I know that this is streamed, I want to make another comment that I made that night, because there was a report in the newspaper that this meeting may have been in advance of a sales tax or revenue measure. That clearly was not the intent of that meeting. That meeting was to discuss the process of goals and priorities that this city council has adopted recently, and that adoption also included the city staff and public several months before that. So I feel it's important to make sure that people don't think that was the precursor to some revenue measure. I'm never going to rule something like that out, but that is absolutely not the intent of those meetings. We did have the workshop on the Brown Act. Thank you to our city attorney. Very efficient meeting. We have lots of boards and commissions that we have to we have volunteers that give of their time, and it's important that when we're doing the city's business, we do so within the legal responsibilities of those boards and commissions. So thank you to City Manager Rocks and for getting those scheduled, and for Shannon for leading that effort. I did attend, along with other members of the council, the state of the chamber. The Chamber of Commerce is really a going concern these days. There's a real good vibe about what they're bringing to the community, and they've got some great events. Councilman Shaw talked about the air show. They're predicting 85,000 people may attend the air show this year. That's a lot of folks coming to our community, and hopefully we can reap some of the benefit through hotels and restaurants, et cetera. As Councilman Shaw said, he and I are sitting on the master tax exchange agreement. Things are moving a little slower than I'm real comfortable with, but we're still plowing ahead. The county and the city are exchanging their financial information in regards to what's it going to cost each entity, the city and the county, to continue to provide the services, and that has to be it has to be shared equitably so that it's a win-win for both sides. I'm hoping that the pace will pick up a little bit as we move forward. Also, with the ad hoc on the development impact fees, as Councilman Shaw mentioned, excellent group of public representatives along with the city staff and a private consultant who actually has a lot of experience on the development side. So it's kind of a unique opportunity for us to pick his brain, and he has another person that's with him. They're very good at what they do as far as understanding development impact fees and what we can do to, as Councilman Shaw says, open the doors to business, because that really is a key to the economic sustainability of this city. We need housing, affordable housing. We need multifamily dwellings. We need residential and we need commercial. And right now we're kind of stuck in the mud. So we're working diligently to bring that forward. Did attend the swear-in ceremony. Congratulations to the 4 firefighters that are now part of the Yuba City Fire Department, and especially to Chief Alexander. It's a great department. You're inheriting a dedicated and competent workforce who are very thrilled that you're here, and we're thrilled that you're here, so welcome. I do want to mention Chief Landon. A lot of what happens in the city goes very unnoticed, but he keeps us informed of what's going on. Every day they go out and they, like our fire department and like all city employees, they go out and work their tails off to protect us. Some of the stuff that's been going on in the city of Yuba City that our law enforcement folks are having to take care of is really high risk stuff. And I hope that calms down a little bit. It's certainly not a reflection on law enforcement. It's just that things are happening, and as they are in every community. And I feel comfortable and confident when my head hits the pillow at night that we have very competent and professional public safety folks guarding my house. As Councilman Shaw said, the Sutter, I'm always going to get this wrong, so Brad, don't get upset. Sutter Animal Services Authority. I always want to call it something different, but these folks are taking care of the animals in our community, and that from time to time we have issues, and there's a great volunteer staff that helps them, and again, there's another unsung hero in the area taking care of a lot of stuff. Finally, I want to make the comment that that this flavored tobacco and vaping thing that our council brought forward a couple weeks ago has a lot of energy. And I just want to make sure that the public knows, not only those of you in the audience here, but those who watch via the web, et cetera, we will listen to everybody before we make any decisions. There are a lot of impacts about whatever decision we make in whichever direction we go. But it is something that we have a passion about in regards to taking care of our youth. And we have to explore all those avenues and opportunities for us to take. But we're also mindful of business as well. We've heard us say many times tonight even we're going to be open for business. So it's going to be a complex matter, but it will be handled publicly, and we'll try to make the best decision we can. With that, I will turn it over to you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. So a lot of stuff going on the last couple of weeks, and we continue to stay really busy. I too want to reiterate the fact that I really appreciate all of our executive staff. They work so hard. Everybody works very hard at everything they do. Chief, in particular, the emails you send out and the communication, just keeping an eye on like letting us know that your folks are keeping an eye on us, actually, and we really appreciate that. Stay busy helping across the river too, it sounds like. But yeah, so I don't want to reiterate. There's several things that I was present at, but I will focus on my my assignments. There was a few of them that I went to first meetings for this year as a newly appointee to the SACOG Commercial Corridor Task Force, which is basically a group of us coming together as members of SACOG to focus on community revitalization. Ours is the Bridge Street Corridor. You heard of Green Means Go and other pilot projects that happen throughout that area. And so we're focusing on business and economic development in the region, but our focus is Bridge Street Corridor. As the new bridge comes into fruition here, hopefully in July, getting widening on Bridge Street, there's a lot of opportunities there that we can hopefully leverage to develop a really completely revitalized area through town. Of course, the whole point is for quality of life issues, and not to mention the fact that Bridge Street itself, the pavement needs some help. A lot of people come to talk about that. So that's it's nice to be on that again. It was the meeting of the year, and as a newly appointee, so it was kind of an introductory thing. They've identified some barriers to development, and there's categories: infrastructure, regulatory processes, the cost, for example, land, and what they call brownfield versus greenfield development. And then some social barriers. NIMBYism is an example of that. It could be a barrier. And then, of course, the market itself. So there's a lot, and I have a chart here that I think I just decided I'm going to share with fellow council members. It was a pretty good, comprehensive chart, kind of summarizing everything that we've all know, but you kind of categorize it and helps you focus on hopefully some solutions. The main thing would be, of course, to get together and identify through folks who for development. You often hear folks talk about when they try to open a business, for example, and they reach hurdle after hurdle after hurdle, or do a development and hurdle after hurdle after hurdle, and then someone else comes up and they think, well, good luck with that. This is the problem. So I think it's important, we had this conversation briefly down there, that we identify these paths of least resistance to getting something completed, and rather than have everybody who comes in behind you reinvent the wheel, just take that to best practice and hardwire it into the process and make it the new normal. So the next guy doesn't have to deal with that. There's some room to make that happen, I think, and hopefully we can work on that. Through the Greater Sacramento Economic Council, I'll be in a video with their executive director, along with a few other, I believe the mayor of Marysville and one of the members of the Board of Supervisors from Sutter County, featuring basically marketing Yuba Sutter area specifically. Of course, for me, would be Yuba City. Identify major attractions, placemaking efforts, a lot of the criteria for a site selector. Folks who come out and they consider relocating their businesses to an area, they want to go down the list of amenities and what makes it work for them. And also to include ag tourism. We haven't nailed down the specific topics, but we want to limit to about 3 for our area that we'll highlight there on that video. SACOG itself, the meeting consisted primarily of the identifying $200 million that is up for grabs this year for this year's funding round. And we're in the process of having discussions to determine the allocation formula. There's different ones, what they do based on population, miles driven, and some stuff also has to be flat out competitive. But we've identified some options for the allocation formula, again, because sometimes projects, we want to do project A, but project B looks better on paper. So we want to get the money, but this is our real priority. But in order to get something, at least something done, we might go to something that's not as high on the list if we had an opportunity to have some discretion. So one of the allocation methods described would allow for that to come over here to our priority. So thank you, Diana, for our discussions on that. I really appreciate that, your insight. And there are many more criteria as well, or benefits to certain ways to do that. The League of California Cities, I am a newly appointee to the Community Services Policy Committee, and that is not necessarily just amenities. Again, we had our first meeting recently down in Sacramento. Beyond amenities, we also talked about issues such as aging, youth services, and housing that we can discuss, bring everybody's opinions together, and hopefully develop some policy for the League of California Cities and their lobbying efforts. Let's see. The one thing I want to mention, 2 things along the list that's already been repeated, but I do want to talk about the SIC film event, or SIC film event we had over there, thanks to a partnership with Yuba Sutter Arts Council. It was a good event. I wish we would have had a little bit more attendance. However, it was very informative. I too learned something, and I think it's worth putting forth a little bit of effort to look into what exactly they do, what they stand for. It really is. It was quite interesting, and I appreciated the turnout and the folks that participated. And thank you, Manny, for being there. And also, of course, I can't just skip over our badge pinning with our brand new 4 firefighters and our new chief. It was a proud moment to be there. It means a lot, very ceremonious, and the commitment and sacrifice and the hard work you at the fire department all put to every day is really appreciated and recognized. And like we talked about, Chief and Chief, and everybody really, you all and your staff do so many things for our community and for society in general that we never know about. In fact, you might even not even know about it. They do things because it's the right thing to do, and they do it for the right reason. That's why we make such an effort to hire the right people, and boy, have we gotten lucky. And we've done a good job doing that. And we really appreciate them and everything you all do. So with that, I will conclude, and we will adjourn to closed session. Thank you very much all for coming.